The first golden wedding is in the books, but how did it sit with fans? Hey everyone, welcome back to Shared News. There was a lot of hype around the first ever golden wedding, but how did it deliver? Were fans happy with the outcome, with everything that we saw? We're gonna get into it. Okay, let me start off by saying that we are so happy for Gary and Teresa. This truly is history being made, the first ever golden wedding. I mean, we rarely get a normal Bachelor and Bachelorette wedding. So the fact that we got a golden wedding on the first ever season of The Golden Bachelor is something I think that the franchise should be proud of. We're gonna get into some of the pros and cons because while I thoroughly enjoyed the season, I feel like the wedding to me felt a little bit more like an award show than it did a wedding. And as we kind of go through the biggest moments, we're gonna talk about the pros and cons of each. But what are people talking about today? You know, after we've all seen it, we all sat down and watched it. And unfortunately, I think that not a lot of people are talking about Gary and Teresa. They're talking about Brayden and Christina and them getting engaged at the golden wedding. So that's like the first kind of awkward moment, the first letdown in my personal opinion. I feel like it goes without saying that you should not ask somebody to marry you at somebody else's wedding. Obviously, these are very different circumstances. It's Brayden's opportunity to do it on television, but you know, this had to go through multiple people to actually have it happen and have it happen on camera. Jesse did say that he asked Gary's permission, which hopefully he did, but then, you know, production also had to sign off on it. And production is going to do anything that gets people talking, good or bad. So they're not going to say, no, Brayden, you can't propose at Gary and Teresa's wedding. But like I said, I checked Twitter right before I jumped on here, and literally everybody is talking about Brayden and Christina and not Gary and Teresa. So I think that's kind of the first thing that maybe they should have steered away from. Next, let's talk about the pre-show with Kathy and Charity interviewing guests. You know, I said at the top of this video, it felt more like an awards show red carpet, which I don't know about you, but I never watched the awards show red carpet because anything interesting that happens, I'm gonna see on social media anyway. So I feel like this bit, I guess you could say, really could have been a social media series. They could have been going live on the Bachelor Instagram account, you know, an hour before the wedding. I just feel like in general, the 2-hour time limit for the wedding was way too much. We got like an hour and 40 minutes of Kathy and Charity and, you know, other little segments that we'll get into, but we only got like 20 minutes of an actual wedding, which I thought was so beautiful. I mean, I loved her dress. I thought all the daughters looked stunning. You know, it was very emotional. I was like crying the whole entire time. So I loved watching the wedding, but I disliked watching an hour and a half of these weird interview moments, you know, more than I loved the wedding, because by the time I got to it, I was like, oh my gosh, thank God it's finally here. So let me know if you agree with me, if you thought it was maybe just a little bit too long. Like I said, I really think Kathy and Charity should have been on Instagram Live doing stuff there. Leslie being there was also a bit of a plot twist because not too long ago, Leslie was on Bachelor Happy Hour talking about how she has no respect for Gary. The then turn around and be there. We all initially thought two things. One, she was either contractually obligated to be there, or two, they were going to announce her as the Golden Bachelorette there. Well, the second one definitely didn't happen. So it still is likely that she could have been contractually obligated to be there. But I thought the interview with Kathy was pretty insensitive, you know, talking about how Gary didn't choose her and now you're at the wedding. Leslie, I think, handled it like a pro, saying that she wanted to be there to support Teresa, but even panning to her while they were saying their vows. It was so awkward. And like I said earlier, you know, these producers are going to do anything to get people talking, and they definitely did that on purpose. So I really felt bad for Leslie. I hope that she had a good time. I really do. It makes me think that they needed to do a little bit of damage control to kind of regain the happy family type of vibe that this show had at the beginning, you know, especially all the stuff that has come out since the show ended. You know, they didn't address any of the controversial stories, including the story that Teresa wanted a prenup. I mean, we knew that they weren't going to. What were they going to do? Have like a sit down interview with Barbara Walters and say like, yeah, Teresa asked for a prenup, but I didn't want one. No, they were going to keep it very surface level. But, you know, I feel like maybe they used Leslie as a pawn to kind of maintain the wholesome the wholesome vibe of the show. So I don't know. I just felt really bad for Leslie. Other than that, I feel like they missed out on some big traditional moments that happened at a wedding. There was no traditional I do, which I thought was a little strange. No first dance. I just feel like producers missed out on some good opportunities to let people in and to love Gary and Teresa as a couple even more. And even though this was a wedding special, my favorite parts were the pre-tape segments with the other women, you know, them having their mini bachelorette party with the boudoir photo shoots and, you know, the Chippendale dancers, also Teresa trying on her wedding dress. So I don't know, I guess it just depends. What do you want to be the most talked about moment? You would think you would want the actual wedding to be, you know, the climax of the episode. It was the last 20 minutes, but I just feel like, I don't know. It was too long, too many interviews with other Bachelor Nation contestants that I just personally didn't care about. But it's not all about me. Let us know what you thought of the Golden Wedding in the comment section below. Do you have the opposite opinion of me? Did you like them checking in with Bachelor Nation members? I mean, we did get a confirmation from Charity and Dotun that they are going to have a wedding in the fall of 2025. So I guess it wasn't all bad, but you know, we'd love to hear from you guys. So leave an opinion on the Golden Wedding below. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, ring the bell so you never miss out on any Bachelor Nation updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan, and we'll see you back next time on Shared News.